Resident Evil 4 Remake has been a huge success for Capcom, and therefore a Resident Evil 5 remake is likely to happen. And with a Resident Evil 5 remake, I've wondered a little bit as to whether or not they should retcon Albert Wesker's death and have it where he actually survives. In the original Resident Evil 5, as we all know, Wesker meets his demise when Chris and Sheva both fire RPGs at him while he is submerged in magma. This completely destroys his body entirely and ends him once and for all. And if they decided to stick with this original script and have him die in Resident Evil 5, I would be perfectly cool with that and would honestly kind of prefer it because I thought his story ending in 5 was just fine. The only thing that I would really want to see changed is to have Jill be a part of finishing him off. Let her also have an RPG alongside Chris and Sheva because she deserves it more than anyone to be able to kill off Wesker, because all the things that Wesker put her through with the mind control and infecting people and she having no control over it, yet still conscious of what she was doing. Like, I think she should have her moment of finishing off Wesker. So that would be what I would want to see get changed about Resident Evil 5, is have Jill actually be involved. So if they decide to stick with the original script, that's really the big thing I'd want to see, because personally I've never really seen Wesker as like the overarching main villain of the entire series. I think he's like a big villain for Chris's arc, but in general I think it's really more of the organizations themselves, like Umbrella, that are the true main villains of the series, because they affect everyone. Leon, Chris, Jill, Rebecca, like, they're all involved in this because of what Umbrella started. Whereas Wesker is really just a Chris and Jill story for the most part. Like, that's pretty much all he is zoned in on. So that's kind of where my viewpoint is on that. So I would be cool with them still killing him off in 5. However, if they decided to retcon his death and have it where he actually survives, I think that would be pretty cool too, because there's a lot of potential with what they could actually do with it. Like, imagine Resident Evil 5 Remake happens, and then they retcon his death, and maybe we get like a scene after the fight where we're in the volcano and you see his hand emerge from the magma, signifying that he actually survived. Or it cuts to some secret lab and there's like a tube with a Wesker clone inside of it, and then the eyes open up and he like transfers his consciousness into this clone body after his death in the volcano, and that signifies that he survived. And then come Resident Evil 9, we learn that it was Wesker who corrupted the BSAA and was pulling the strings the entire time. Like, that would be an absolute Wesker move right there, and people would be all hyped up about it. Because, as we all know, Wesker is, without a doubt, the most popular villain in the series. So if they decided to retcon his death and have him survive and show up in later installments after 5, I think the vast majority of fans would be all for it, just because of how popular he is. So I definitely think it would be cool. There's a lot of potential there, like I just said, with the BSAA, and just things like Jake meeting his father and facing him and stuff like that. That would be really cool to see. We might actually get a moment with Leon interacting with Wesker. I mean, imagine a scene with Leon, Jake, Chris, and Jill facing off against Wesker together in one last major battle to finish off Wesker for good. I think something like that would be really cool to see, and I would just love to see the interactions between Leon and Wesker and Jake and Wesker. Those two characters interacting with Wesker is one reason that I'd actually want to see his death get retconned, just so we could see that happen. But it just goes to show that there is lots of cool things that they could actually do there that I think would be really exciting stuff. So if they did want to retcon it, I definitely wouldn't be against it, because again, the amount of potential with having Wesker return is very high. So either way, I think it'd be really cool. As I said, I kind of still favor having his story arc end in 5, just let Jill be involved in finishing him off. But other than that, I'm kind of cool with either one. But what are your thoughts on this? What would you like to see in a potential Resident Evil 5 remake? Would you rather they stick with the original script and have it where Wesker is killed off for good in 5? Or would you rather they retcon that, have it where he survives and then shows back up in later installments? Let me know what your thoughts are on this. I'm going to go ahead and end this video here, and I will see you all on the next one. See you then.